Let me just go ahead and start this video out by saying that if you're going to live a certain lifestyle, if you are going to not only live a certain lifestyle, but if you're going to do a certain thing to yourself, to your body, then you need to go ahead and accept the stigma that's going to come along with it, and just go ahead and accept the fact that people are going to make fun of said lifestyle, and they're probably going to pick on you. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to develop some form of thick skin, or you're going to need to learn to throw it back rather than whining and crying, because the more and more you whine and cry, the less sympathetic people are going to be towards you.
So at this point, it's giving client. I don't know what doll hurt Dave Chappelle. I really don't. But it's giving disgruntled client. It's giving angry trick. It's giving, he wanted to kiss on the mouth, and she was like, no, I don't do that. I upcharge for that. If you want to do that, you got to give me XYZ. And he was like, oh, no, ma'am. And his ego was bruised, honey, so he went on a rampage. It's giving angry trick. Am I lying? Dolls, am I lying? It's giving angry trick. Oh my God, who goes on to make three comedy specials about the dolls because you can't take? Get him some.
That right there was just one of the many responses over Dave Chappelle's recent comedy special, where, of course, he had some pretty good zingers, like always. Now, I have not yet seen said comedy special yet, even though I'm going to be playing some of this for you, just what I've seen. But, of course, there's going to be a header on it because Netflix loves to hit you with copyright claims. Now, guys, you're probably thinking to yourself, am I here just to simply review Dave Chappelle? No, I am not here to do that, even though I still think the Chappelle Show was probably one of the greatest television shows ever created. Of course, the first two seasons. The third season was not as good, but still, here we are once again talking about Dave Chappelle, and he is under fire for making jokes about the T community. Now, obviously, I have to self-censor because I'm probably going to get the yellow dollar sign on this video, and this right here is set to be the only video to be released on Wednesday. But once again, here we are having this conversation because a certain community is upset about a certain comedian making certain jokes about said community, which I personally don't think we should call community, but obviously I have to call them a community because of YouTube's censorship guidelines. So let's go ahead and play some of this.
Did I ever go to jail? But if I do, I hope it's in California. Because as soon as the judge sentenced me, I'll be like, Your Honor, before you sentence me, I just went to court to know I identify as a woman. Send me to women's jail. And as soon as I get in there, you know what I'm gonna be doing? Give me a fruit cocktail, bitch, before I knock your motherfucking teeth out. I'm a girl just like you, bitch. Come over here and suck this girl dick I got. Don't make me explain myself. I'm a girl.
That issue that Mr. Chappelle is talking about is something that I have pointed out on several occasions, that if you allow people of a certain, to go inside a certain private facility, that there being a bathroom, then probably stuff like assaults and things could in fact occur. Of course, Dave Chappelle's been doing comedy for years, and of course, he obviously is going to make jokes about this because that's what he is. He's a comedian. Ricky Gervais has talked about this. He has made fun of it. Not only has Ricky Gervais made fun of it, Bill Burr has made fun of it. And then you get a comedian like this person here, obviously, is T, who's kind of accepted the fact that, yeah, jokes kind of come with the territory.
Say about trans women specifically, they say, when we dig up your bones in 100 years, we're going to be able to tell you're a man. Bitch, when you dig up my bones in 100 years, that will be the least of your issues. They're gonna be like, this dude had weird sex with other dudes. This twink skeleton is fucked up. What did he do to his bone?
Before we go any further, I need to go ahead and kind of address this article right quick. So basically, the special is called I Love Punching Down. Now, guys, I have not seen this special yet. I'm probably going to watch it tonight, just kind of like just review it. But then again, I've also got some things I'm working on for Gear Issue 33 as well. But the thing is this here. As I've said on multiple occasions, this is what comedians do. I mean, it's their job to go out there and make jokes and commentate on the world today. And most of the jokes, of course, are talking about society itself. I mean, dude, there are Trump comedians out there that we find absolutely hilarious, even if they do it in some bad faith or they're not exactly supporters of the man. There's also some people out there who did very good comedic sketches about former presidents. Bill Clinton, for example. By the way, the Epstein list is coming out. I can't really do a video on that. But still, at the same time, comedy is something that is, for the most part, is in fact subjective. I mean, you laugh at certain things. And of course, they're trying to censor people's speech, and they're trying to censor what is funny and what is not funny. It's almost like they're trying to say that you're not allowed to make fun of said community. And my response to that is this right here. And you're probably going to hear me say it again in this video. Everybody gets made fun of at some point in time. It kind of comes with the territory. It might be a good idea that you develop some form of, how do I say this, some form of self-deprecating humor. There are things about me that, quite frankly, I laugh at. I laugh at my voice sometimes. I mean, obviously, it comes off sounding a little bit weird. And even sometimes I come off sounding like a good old-fashioned slack-jawed yokel, which is something I'm going to hear in the comment section. Probably by one of the people who hit the dislike button on the video, or maybe just listen and want to leave negative comments, but it kind of comes with the job. If you're going to be on this platform, you're going to get some form of criticism. If you're going to choose a certain lifestyle, you're probably going to get some form of criticism, and I don't think what Mr. Chappelle is doing is actual criticism. I think what Mr. Chappelle is doing is just good old-fashioned comedy. The man is a comedic genius. He's been doing it for years. Fact of the matter is that he's obviously found some people in society that he thinks obviously need to be made fun of. And I don't think he's doing it out of hate. I actually think he's doing it for the most part out of love. You guys should probably go back and listen to the story that he gave about his trans friend that ended up, can't really say it on the platform, and he actually felt pretty bad because said person got attacked by the own mob that's supposed to be supporting said individual or said individual's lifestyle. And I'll be talking about that a little bit more towards the end as well, because the more and more you look at the situation, you got to ask yourself a question. Is the left or the quote-unquote allies, which don't worry, we'll have a video on in the near future, are these people actually helping said person who lives a certain lifestyle by pushing them to trans? I mean, if you look at the self-deletion rates, then obviously you would probably think to yourself that maybe you're not helping the situation out. Maybe you should be trying to provide these people actual help rather than convincing them to go through with a life-changing or a life-altering surgery that's probably going to lead to them eventually doing what I just said, which obviously I can't say explicitly on the platform, or else I will get removed and the video in the channel will be moved to the shadow realm. Fact of the matter is this right here. Mainstream media has obviously cobbled up a lot of this, and the media is probably getting off on the fact that they're getting a lot of clicks and that they're getting a lot of ad revenue off this topic. So if anything, when you really look at it, the jig is kind of up. Fact of the matter is, like I said before, if you're going to live a certain lifestyle, if you're going to transition into a certain lifestyle, you better go ahead and accept the additional consequences that come with said decision. But still, you've got people out there like this person here talking about how disgusting it is to be making jokes about this. Now, guys, I have given you several videos on how I feel about this particular lifestyle. I really and truly don't care for it. I never have liked it. But then again, at the same time, there's other reasons for this. One of those main reasons is that there's a certain statistic that goes along with this community, which we can't really talk about here on the platform. Let's just say it involves the act of deleting oneself. It's a very high percentage, and I think these people need to be actually helped first before anything like this occurs. And of course, there's all kinds of data out there that shows you that a lot of times kids, when they start to feel a certain form of gender dysphoria, they begin to start breaking out of it by the time they hit the age of 18. Oftentimes, a lot of them just end up becoming gay. And of course, some of them don't. Some of them kind of revert back to being straight. The best thing you can do in this situation, especially when it comes to kids, is just simply allow them to grow up and kind of figure things out. Kids are going to be curious. Some kids are going to be more curious than others, but still at the same time, people are making jokes of it and they're making light about the situation because this is what comedians do. So if you're going to live a certain lifestyle or do something to your body then you're probably going to need to accept the fact that there are going to be jokes that come along with it. Even in story form, like the next 2 minutes and 13 seconds, which in my opinion was really the best one I've seen so far.
And what Norm did, which I'll never forget, is he knew that I was the biggest Jim Carrey fan in the world. Now, I'm not going to go all into it, but Jim Carrey is talented in a way that you can't practice or rehearse. What a God-given talent. I was fascinated with him. And Norm knew that. And he called me up and he goes, Dave, he says, I'm doing a movie with Jim Carrey. Do you want to meet him? And I said, fuck, yes, I do. And it was the first time I could remember since my father died being excited. And the movie was called Man on the Moon. I didn't know any of this. And in this movie, Jim Carrey was playing another comedian I admired, the late, great Andy Kaufman. Yes, and Jim Carrey was so immersed in that role that from the moment he woke up to the time he went to bed at night, he would live his life as Andy Kaufman. I didn't know that. When they said cut, this nigga was still Andy Kaufman. So much so that everybody on the crew called him Andy. I didn't know any of that. I just went there to meet him, and when he walked into the room where we were supposed to meet, I screamed, "Jim Carrey!" And everyone said, "No!" Call him Andy. And I didn't understand. And then he came over and he was acting weird. I didn't know he was acting like Andy Kaufman. Just like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I was like, "Hello." Andy? Now, in hindsight, how fucking lucky am I that I got to see one of the greatest artists of my time immersed in one of his most challenging processes ever. Very lucky to have seen that. But as it was happening, I was very disappointed. Because I wanted to meet Jim Carrey, and I had to pretend this nigga was Andy Kaufman all afternoon. And he was clearly Jim Carrey. I could look at him and I could see he was Jim Carrey. Anyway, I say all that to say, that's how trans people make me feel.
Of course, Mr. Chappelle is a genius when it comes to comedy. He is just simply telling you exactly his time being around Jim Carrey. I'm pretty sure some of you guys know who that is. And of course, on the set of the film, Man on the Moon, he was literally acting in character the entire time he was on set. Sometimes actors do this. I want to say that Jared Leto, when he was trying to be the Joker, he was sending like dead snakes to people and crap. Sometimes these actors go a little bit too far, but obviously Dave Chappelle, once again, is here to make light of this situation, tell you guys a story, which is absolutely hilarious and put a nice little spin on it. Fact of the matter is this right here. If you're going to live a certain stigma, you're going to live a certain lifestyle, you better go ahead and get used to the fact that there are going to be people out there who are going to make jokes and people who are going to make fun of you over it. And of course, I don't think they mean that to harm you. But then again, though, once again, we're seeing an extremely sensitive community get upset and get pissed off and have reactions like what I'm going to show you now.
Jokes aren't funny. Let me tell you why. So Bill Maher, some recent more news about Dave Chappelle, some Ricky Gervais, the special, right? So there's been all these trans jokes recently. Number one, they're not original. I've heard basically the same jokes since I was a kid, and you might want to broaden the comedy horizons somewhere else. Number two, it's unkind, right? It's punching down. It is extremely unpleasant with everything that folks like us go through, especially Black trans women, to then be made fun of on top of that. And number three, it's immoral. The more of us you make fun of, the more society finds us dismissible, the more of us die.
There is something genuinely depressing about watching Dave Chappelle, who is one of, if not the best comic of our lifetime, reduce himself to the guy who makes trans jokes. And when Dave Chappelle first started telling these jokes, I understood where it came from. Now, I didn't personally find it funny, and it's not because I was offended. It's just because, like, the jokes themselves are not funny. But I sort of understood where it came from, because Dave Chappelle is an aging comic who built his career off of being relatable and being kind of like an everyday man and telling relatable stories about relatable people that we as average people could really relate to. But because he's rich and elite and has been for multiple decades, he has lost that sort of that everyday touch, and his life and his stories and his experiences are no longer relatable to people like us. And so because of that, he has to fall back on shock value. And he's not the only comic who does this. Ricky Gervais does it, Louis C.K. does it, Chris Rock does it, because these men specifically are aging and they're elite and they just don't have like the touch anymore.
In 2024, can Dave Chappelle go the fuck outside and touch some motherfucking grass? Like, what is your obsession with trans? I'm 100% convinced that some trans girl out there is sipping on some mezcal right now, thinking about how she broke his heart into pieces. Because what? We're always in your mouth, bro. Because I think you want us in your mouth. Happy New Year. See y'all later. Dave Chappelle, get a fucking life.
What's the saying? What's the saying? Get tough or die, develop some thick skin. That right there is what you're going to have to do if you're going to do this. And like I've said before, while I am definitely not a fan of this lifestyle and while I'm definitely not a fan of people doing this to themselves, while I'm definitely more in the camp of trying to get these people some help, it's not a good thing to sit here and tell us that you should not be made fun of. I hate to tell you this, but if you're trying to normalize yourself or if you want the same rights, the same recognition as everybody else, then you need to go ahead and kind of recognize that you yourself are going to be a target like everyone else. Straight white men, we get made fun of all the time. After a while, we just simply take it like a man and just simply move on. White girls get made fun of. I have no idea how the hell they cope with it. Black people get made fun of as well. Hispanics get made fun of. It's just comedy as a whole. People are going to get made fun of over lifestyle, over race, creed, religion, all that type of stuff. It's just something that just kind of comes with the territory. Fact of the matter is, comedy is designed to provide levity on a situation. And while some people may think that Dave Chappelle is being mean here again, I don't see it that way. I just simply see him doing a comedy special, which of course does include some shock humor, and the guy is pretty good at what he does. Now, I personally probably, if I was a comedian, would not have worded the way he worded that particular segment. But still, at the same time, you got to admire the man's comedic genius. You're going to have to learn to either A, develop some thick skin or develop some comedic genius on your own to help yourself kind of cope with the situation, even though you did it to yourself and probably should not be doing that. Fact of the matter is that if you're going to do this to yourself, if you're going to live this type of lifestyle, you better go ahead and accept the stigma that goes along with that. I mean, fact of the matter is you did it to yourself, so therefore, if you did it to yourself, people may think that they can make fun of said lifestyle because of what you did. I'm just simply saying, and I know it sounds confusing because obviously you don't want to get thrown off this platform for talking about it, but the thing is this right here. If you're going to do this to yourself, you better go ahead and accept all the consequences that come along with it, and don't cry when somebody makes fun of you. And by the way, it's not like anybody really and truly hates anybody who lives that said lifestyle. I have told you guys before that I had a teacher who taught psychology at the university that I went to. This is back in 2019. This person was T. And this same said person also, not only were they T, but they also at the exact same time had this thing where they did not like the pronoun game. The reason why was because they probably did not like the politics. And while I never had a heart-to-heart conversation with said person, the teacher was in fact very cool and did not seem bothered by some people laughing and snickering at said person. By the way, the vast majority of those kids who were laughing at said person who were T, they probably all voted for Biden in 2020 because obviously orange man bad. But still, though, don't come out here and virtue signal and act like you're friends to that community when deep down inside we all know that you hate those people just as much as anybody else. Fact of the matter is that a lot of these quote-unquote allies are not really and truly allies to these people, and they're actually doing more harm to you. And think about something that I just said. There is a certain stigma that goes along with this community, and the stigma that goes along with this community is obviously the self-deletion rate, which is right at 50% of said particular demographic, which is only about maybe 1% of the country. Why in the world would you promote said lifestyle? Why in the world would you promote said person when said person gets made fun of? It is very, very possible that said person that just got made fun of may feel more depressed. Why would you actually promote that lifestyle? It's almost as if to say what Tim Pool was saying about there being an actual genocide amongst that community is actually true. And the genocide, of course, is being perpetuated by those on the radical left who are telling people that they should be proud of this lifestyle. Yet when said person goes out and gets upset or gets made fun of or has any form of emotional trauma or any form of emotional issues, what do they end up doing? That's right. They end up doing what I just said earlier, that same said bad statistic, which is very sad because in reality, these people need help. That right there is what they need. But still, at the same time, it still remains. If you're going to live a certain lifestyle, if you're going to do this to yourself, then you better go ahead and accept the baggage that comes along with it. And a part of that baggage that comes along with it is going to be that you're going to get made fun of by comedians. So you need to go ahead and kind of accept that, or you need to go ahead and kind of accept the fact that you need to develop much, much thicker skin, that you need to get tougher and stay in the game. And maybe if you do that, said comedians' jokes or whatnot may not be, how do I say, as offensive, and maybe you might be able to fight back. I don't know, maybe throw it back at someone. Maybe that right there is what you should be focusing on doing rather than crying, because the more and more you whine about this, the less sympathy people end up developing for you, because at the end of the day, you did it to yourself. By the way, I'm not saying this to be hateful or anything. I'm just simply telling you that this right here is the way of the world, and this is the way things go. Comedians are going to be comedians, and comedians are going to do what comedians do. Fact of the matter is, Dave Chappelle is definitely the most prolific comedian out there today, and he is almost, in a lot of ways, damn near prophetic. Everything this man has predicted somehow or another has completely come true. Truth be told is, if you really and truly want to get an idea of where society is or where society is going, look no further than a comedian, because they make jokes about it all the time. All comedians to a certain degree are prophetic in many ways, and Mr. Chappelle is definitely finding himself being possibly the most prophetic and prolific comedian of this day. And with that right there being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and halt this video now. Right now, it's really the only video that I have planned for Wednesday, but there probably will be another one late in the afternoon. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe. Please leave a comment in the comment section. I would love to hear what you guys have got to say. And to the social justice warriors out there, piss off.